Okay, this wasn't an episode I thought we'd be doing.
Nor any of us.
Certainly not the one we planned. Right, we got it wrong. Swallowed the press release whole. Did exactly what we keep telling you not to do, along with every other outlet in the country 2 weeks back, and we need to fix it.
Hands up.
Hands up. Right, so most years around spring, with the occasional government calendar wobble, the Department for Science, Innovation and Technology publishes the Cybersecurity Breaches Survey, and every time the British press runs the same headline, like a Christmas tradition, but more depressing.
43% of UK businesses suffered a cyber breach or attack last year. Last time it was 50.
We ran that number.
Whole episode off the back of it. It's been bothering me ever since.
So Graham and I went back to the report. Every damn word. Highlighters out. The whole shooting match. Not just the press release.
Not just the Reuters copy.
The actual report, main report, technical report, annexes, the whole shooting match and...
Misleading.
Misleading how?
Misleading for years. And what makes it interesting, rather than just sad, is that the government already knows.
They know because they fixed it.
They built a stricter statistic. Same questionnaire, same survey, same report, same day.
And nobody quotes the stricter one.
Nobody. Not the trade press. Not your MSP. Not the vendor who's been emailing you twice a week since Tuesday.
So today we're going to do something the British cyber press won't. We're going to read the methodology.
Both numbers, the noisy one and the stricter one.
And work out why one of them lives on every front page and the other one's buried in Chapter 6.
And here's why you should care. Bad numbers make small businesses spend money in the wrong place. That's the real damage. Not the headline, the behaviour the headline creates.
Misallocated money, misplaced fear, same old circus.
Exactly. And by the end of this, if you're running a 20-person business, we're going to tell you what to actually do with all of this mess. Pull up a chair. This one's going to take a while, and it's going to upset some people.
He's the guy with the plan for your online life. Keeps your data safe, cuts through the strife. Small biz owners, yeah, this is your guide. Cyber threats, beware, no place to hide. The small business cybersecurity guy, guarding your world with a sharp eagle eye. Tips and tricks to keep your systems tight. Stay secure, stay strong in the digital fight.
Welcome back to another episode of the Small Business Cybersecurity Guy. I'm Noel Bradford. With me today, Graham Faulkner.
Hello.
Moven McLeod.
Hi.
Lucy Harper.
Hello?
And Corrine Jefferson.
How you doing?
Big crowd today, because we're about to upset a lot of people. The Department for Science, Innovation and Technology's Cybersecurity Breaches Survey.
Published around spring most years.
Same headline every time. Almost half of UK businesses suffered a cyber breach or attack.
This year, 43%.
And that headline is, how shall we put it? The lawyers say we can call it misleading.
Misleading, yes. And before anyone gets twitchy, when I say lie, I don't mean the statisticians faked the number. I mean the public story built on that number is false. The report is more transparent than the headlines. That is rather the point.
Important distinction.
Very. The statisticians put the caveats in the report. The problem is what survives contact with comms, press releases, vendors, LinkedIn, and whatever fresh hell lands in your inbox by Friday afternoon.
Which is usually the largest number with the least context.
Exactly. And what makes it fascinating? What makes it worth a Sunday afternoon recording when I could be doing literally anything else? Is that the government already knows.
They built the fix.
They built the fix. Stricter statistic, same questionnaire, same report, same day.
Same report.
Sitting right next to it, chapter heading and everything.
And nobody quotes the stricter one.
Nobody.
Which is the question worth asking before we even get to the numbers. If the stricter figure exists and it sits in the same document, why doesn't it travel?
Because the gap between the two is the story.
Exactly that.
And we'll get to who benefits from the gap in a bit. Spoiler, it's not you. First, we need to understand what the broken number actually counts. Because if you can't see what the headline's measuring, you can't see why it falls apart.
Right, hang on. Before we go in, I want to flag something properly. We ran with this number ourselves 2 weeks ago.
Yup, indeed we did.
So this isn't us being clever after the fact. This is us going back and doing the work we should have done first time.
Eating our own cooking.
Hands up, we got it wrong. Today, we fix it, and we apologise, briefly. Now let's move on.
Right, let's begin with what the headline figure actually counts.
Don't leave your business exposed. Hit subscribe and like the show. Stay informed and protected. Small business cybersecurity guy. Security tips you can trust. Subscribe now. Stay secure.
Right, so the Cybersecurity Breaches Survey 2526, published the 30th of April 2026. Headline: 43% of UK businesses experienced a cybersecurity breach or attack in the last 12 months.
Which is what Reuters ran.
What every UK trade press outlet reproduced. What your MSP put in the renewal email they sent you last Friday afternoon, probably at 5 to 5. Right before they buggered off home for the weekend.
The questionnaire asks which types of attack the organisation experienced. Phishing's on the list, alongside malware, ransomware, hacking, denial of service, the whole catalogue.
Here's the bit nobody quotes. In 2024, DCIT clarified the phishing question wording. They added 6 words to the questionnaire script, written into the technical annex.
6 words.
6. Nolel, Reddit.
Even if they did not engage with these emails or websites.
Say that again, slowly.
Even if they did not engage with these emails or websites. Translation: a phishing attempt sits inside the headline breach or attack number even when nobody clicked. Nobody opened, nobody was fooled, nothing happened. The attack happened because the email arrived or the fraudulent website was reached. That's the threshold.
Right, hang on. So my filter catches a phishing email, or a user receives one and does nothing with it. Nothing's compromised. That still sits inside the headline breach or attack number.
That's exactly the problem.
Oh, come on.
Yes.
Then by that definition, the real exposure rate is probably far closer to 100% than 43. Every UK organisation with a working email server receives phishing emails. The only reason it isn't reported that way is awareness, logging, filtering, and who answered the survey. Mine received about 4,000 last month.
A Microsoft Defender report?
Yup, Defender. I pulled it before this recording.
So 4,000 attempts that hit your tenant, of which, let me guess, the vast majority got quarantined before they reached an inbox.
Pretty much all of them. What actually reached a user? Low double digits, and were then clicked. 0. Therefore, those that caused harm, a big fat 0.
So by the headline methodology, Lucy's newsroom sits in the 43%.
By those metrics, it most certainly does. By any sensible operational definition, we suffered no breach.
That's the gap. The headline measures background radiation. Every phishing email that reaches people, or every fraudulent site they reach, can sit inside the headline number. Doesn't matter if nobody engaged, doesn't matter if nothing happened, email arrived, website loaded, tick the box, breach or attack.
Spot on. So what the 43% actually measures, at least in large part, is whether the person answering the survey is aware that phishing exists.
Which it always does.
Which it always does, and I can attest, always has. And here's the kicker. Of the 43% who experienced a breach or attack, 51% experienced phishing only, nothing else. Over half. The breach, or more correctly attack, was phishing only. No malware, no ransomware, no hacking, no denial of service, just phishing. That's the alleged breach.
No, air quotes don't work on an audio podcast.
Which means the headline you read this spring is being driven, structurally, by email and web attack awareness. Not by harm, not by loss, not necessarily by successful criminal activity, by inbound attempt volume and recognition.
Yes, and once you see that, you can't unsee it. It's like measuring road safety by counting cars.
Can I add something?
Go on, dive in.
In the US, the FBI publishes the Internet Crime Complaint Center figures every year. They count complaints, not arrivals, not attempts, complaints, where someone reported actual harm. The number's tiny by comparison. The methodology gets criticized for undercounting.
And we're at the opposite end.
Wildly opposite. We're overcounting because the threshold's so low it might as well not exist.
So 2 countries, 2 opposite problems. Neither headline tells the truth.
Correct? The British problem's just louder, because the British inflation's bigger.
Lovely. We're world-beating at something at last.
And it's getting worse, not better.
Go on.
Same report, qualitative interviews this year. Respondents say phishing's become easier for attackers because of AI tooling, better grammar, better pretexting, better personalization at scale. So inbound phishing volumes climbing.
Which means even if nothing else changes, the 43% can climb higher next year. Because the AI tools improved. Not because anyone suffered more harm.
Measuring the weather, not the damage.
And the AI angle is going to be everywhere by Christmas. Every vendor LinkedIn post, every keynote, every renewal email. AI powered this, AI resistant that. Brace yourselves. Right, so, Chapter 6
Chapter 6.
of the same report, titled Cybercrime, exists because in 2022 DCIT and the Home Office sat down together and built a stricter measure.
They wanted to know how many of these so-called breaches and attacks are actually crimes, under the Computer Misuse Act, under the Home Office counting rules.
And the methodology is completely different.
Completely. It excludes attacks stopped by software. It excludes phishing where nobody clicked. It only counts ransomware if a ransom was actually demanded. This is what rigor looks like. Office for Statistics Regulation completed a compliance review in March. Office for National Statistics was consulted on the cybercrime questions when they were built. Home Office co-funds it.
None of which made the press coverage.
Not a sentence.
Course not. Doesn't fit the story.
Quite.
So what does the stricter figure say? In 25-26, 19% of UK businesses experienced any cybercrime. Not 43, 19.
About 270,000 organizations.
Strip phishing out entirely, and you get 3% experiencing non-phishing cybercrime, as defined by the stricter Chapter 6 methodology.
3.
3, and that figure's held steady, 3 to 4%, 3 consecutive survey waves.
Right. Hang on. 3%?
3%.
That's a profoundly different country from the one the headline describes. 43 feels like a siege. 3 feels like a road safety statistic. Both might be true.
Only one's being used to sell things.
Only one.
And the cost data's the bit that should make every small business owner sit up. Median perceived cost of the most disruptive breach or attack, £0.
0.
0, with the 25th to 75th percentile range, £0 to £200. And for the 95th percentile, 4,000 quid.
Wait, what? 4 grand at the bad end?
4 grand at the bad end of this distribution. Painful, yes. Existential, usually not.
Worth flagging one thing about that cost picture though.
Go on.
Once you become a target, you tend to be a repeat target. The median victim experiences 3 cybercrimes in 12 months. The mean 19.
19?
Yeah, but the mean number's dragged up by a long tail. But the point holds. Heavy victimization's concentrated. A small group of organizations are absorbing most of the volume, but nonetheless.
Which changes the calculation. Hardening once isn't the play. Sustained hygiene matters more than panic spending.
Which is the opposite of what your renewal email tells you.
Always the opposite.
So when your vendor tells you the average breach costs £4 million,
Or whatever IBM's latest report came up with.
don't get me started on IBM's latest report. They're not lying, they're just measuring a completely different building site. Enterprise, regulated data, class action plaintiffs, not the actual experience of a 20-person letting agency in Coventry.
Which is our audience.
So which figure should we be using? The one from the building site you actually work on, or the one from a different building site on a different continent?
The former. Always the former. Use the data that matches the population you belong to. Statistics 101.
And it's being ignored at scale
Wholesale.
because the larger number sells more product. There's no other reason. The methodology's in the document. The chapter headings are in the contents. Anyone can read it.
They choose not to. So this stricter statistic's been sitting in the same report, published on the same day, for 3 years now. Methodologically sound, OSR reviewed, full transparency, and nobody quotes it.
Because 3 groups benefit from the inflated headline, and 1 group amplifies it, and the small business owner is nowhere on the list of beneficiaries. Surprise. Right, quick pause. Actually, while we're on the methodology, we've done something with it.
Oh, this.
Graham and I pulled every cybersecurity breaches survey for the last 10 years, lined them up, questionnaire change by questionnaire change, headline by headline, press coverage versus what was actually in Chapter 6.
It's grim reading.
Grim reading. 10 years of the same trick. Same press cycle. Same vendor lift and shift. Same renewal emails. We've written it up properly. About 14,000 words. Sources, charts, the lot.
And it's only going up in one place.
One place, the Substack. Subscribers only. Which brings me to a clarification while we're here. The blog's still the blog. Same address, show notes, episode pages, companion posts. Everything we've always done on the website. Still free, still there.
The Substack augments the blog, doesn't replace it.
Augments.
Augments. So what's on the Substack that isn't on the blog? Daily CVE and threat brief on weekdays. What dropped overnight? What's being exploited? Whether you need to care this week, 5 minutes to read, done before the kettle's boiled.
Plus the out-of-band pieces in between. If something breaks on a Tuesday afternoon and we can't wait for the next episode, it goes up there. ICO enforcement notices, NCSC guidance, the Patch Tuesday rundown, whatever the week throws at us.
And the subscriber-only work, like the 10-year meta study, published this week, and we are not going to publish it anywhere else.
No marketing waffle, links to every primary source. Nobody's trying to sell you a product at the bottom of the page. If you signed up to a vendor newsletter this year and regretted it within a week, this one reads differently.
A writer who used to read government threat intel, a researcher in the United States, and a veteran who's been doing this for 40 years. All writing about what actually matters for a 20-person business this week.
Search the Small Business Cybersecurity Guy on Substack or find the link in the show notes. Blog's still where it always was, free. Substack's the daily brief, out of band when it matters, and the deep work, including the 10-year meta study sitting there waiting for subscribers.
Bring your own coffee.
You two crack me up.
Want the deep dive? Check the sources. All the details, guides, and courses. Hit the blog for scripts and more. The Small Business Cybersecurity Guide.co.uk. The blog. Real security. No fluff.
So why does the broken number survive? If DCIT has already built the stricter statistics, if it's sitting there in Chapter 6, why does the 43% keep landing on every front page while the 19% stays invisible?
3 groups.
3 groups.
3 groups benefit from the inflated headline. DCIT itself sometimes accidentally, the vendor fear economy, and the compliance theatre merchants. The press amplifies it because they lack the resources to scrutinise methodology, and nobody anywhere has an incentive to slow down.
Start with DCIT.
Start with DCIT.
The statisticians who built the cybercrime measure are doing serious work. I know some of them, professionally speaking. They care, they want you to read Chapter 6. But the press release leads with 43%. Big numbers travel further than small numbers, and the small numbers the stricter one.
So the comms team wins.
Again, stats team loses, and the methodology paragraph sits lower down in material nobody scrolls to.
Then the vendors. Every cybersecurity vendor in the UK uses the CSBS headline. Search 43% of UK businesses right now. Every endpoint protection vendor, every managed service provider, every cyber essentials reseller, same number, same urgency, same boilerplate.
And if the headline collapsed to 5% or 8%, the urgency collapses with it. Contract values drop, procurement cycles lengthen, Christmas bonuses get smaller. Now we can't have that, can we now? Every vendor's got a financial interest in the broken statistic being the dominant one. Every single one.
Then the audit and certification industry.
Feeds off the same headline.
43% suffered a breach or attack. Can you afford to be one of them? Get certified now.
Certificate on the wall.
Certificate on the wall. Invoice gets paid. Security posture unchanged.
Right, I'm going to get myself into trouble here.
Off you go.
We did a whole episode on this back in episode 9. Cyber Essentials as theatre versus Cyber Essentials as a starting point. The certification itself's fine. Useful, even, we have always said it is a great baseline. The industry that's built up around scaring people into the certification is a different beast. Tick box audit, eye-watering invoice, certificate goes on the wall, job done, allegedly. And nothing about the business is actually safer than it was before.
Same with the authentication crisis episode in February.
Same with that. Every breach we covered in that series was driven by something basic going wrong. Phishing, reused passwords, missing MFA. Not by some Hollywood threat actor, by Karen from accounts clicking the wrong link on a Thursday afternoon. And the 43% figure paints it as something else, something exotic, something only a £15,000 bundle can stop.
And then the press becomes a stenographer. Newsroom resources have collapsed. The trade press reproduces the headline because they don't have time to read the full report.
Or they don't have anyone left who can.
Or that, by Tuesday lunchtime, every Cyber Essentials assessors updated their pitch deck. Every vendor's got a fresh LinkedIn post. Every MSP's got another fear-based renewal email queued up.
Every single one. I get them too. Someone forwarded me one last week leading with half of UK businesses suffered a breach last year. Half. They couldn't even copy the inflated number correctly. They were a year out of date and still managed to make it worse.
Which vendor?
I'm not naming them on air.
You'd love to.
I'd love to. This episode's already going really piss off lots of people and cost us about 6 business relationships. Let's not make it 8.
Hadn't looked at it like that. And here's the worst bit. The owner of the 20-person business reads the headline, takes the call from the MSP, buys the bundle, ends up paying for protections they may not need against threats they may not face, while the actual threats, the ones in Chapter 6, the boring ones, get underfunded.
The broken statistic doesn't just mislead, it actively misallocates capital. Money goes to the wrong place. The right place sits underfunded. The gap between the two's filled by vendor margin.
And the second order effect.
Go on.
Small businesses stop trusting any of the figures. After 3 or 4 renewal cycles built on fear, the owner stops reading the emails, stops engaging with the security conversation, just signs the renewal, because the alternative is more shouting.
Worse outcome than no security advice at all.
Worse outcome.
That's the cost of the lie, not the headline. The behavior the headline produces. Frightened owners, tick box certifications, bloated retainers, underfunded basics, and the same circus rolls into town next spring with a fresh set of inflated numbers. So let's flip it. Let's spend the rest of this episode talking about what someone running a 20-person company should actually do with all of this, because the survey data is excellent when used properly. The presentation's misleading. You can fix that yourself by reading past the headline and ignoring most of your inbox. Right, 5 things you can actually do this week. 1 a day, Friday test, pin this part of the show notes. Same checklist on the blog. None of this needs a £30,000 retainer, none of it needs a certificate, most of it's free.
Monday, skip the headline. Read Chapter 6, the cybercrime chapter.
Numbers again.
19% of businesses experienced any cybercrime. 3% non-phishing cybercrime under the stricter Chapter 6 methodology. Median cost 0, 95th percentile £4,000. That's your actual risk picture, not the inflated 43.
Read it with a coffee.
Read it with a coffee, print it. Highlight the bits that match your business. 40 minutes of your time. It'll change the conversations you have with your insurer and your MSP for the rest of the year.
Especially your MSP.
Tuesday. Audit your own phishing volume. Log into Microsoft Defender, Mimecast, whatever email security you've got. All the last 12 months. Tens of thousands of attempts.
Like my 4,000.
Just like Lucy's 4,000. Now look at what got through to inboxes, then what got clicked, then what caused harm. For most healthy businesses, that funnel collapses to single digits or zero.
That's your real exposure.
That's your real exposure, not the inbound count, the harm count.
And if you can't pull that report yourself, ask your MSP to pull it. Reasonable request. If they can't or won't or pretend not to understand the question,
You've got a different problem to solve.
a bigger one, finance. In that case, can I help?
Wednesday. Incident log. Real events, not phishing emails that nobody engaged with. Lost devices, account compromises, malware that bypassed detection. For most 20-person businesses, that list runs to 0 or a handful, usually resolved without harm.
Compare it to the inflated headline.
You'll see the gap immediately. And if you don't keep an incident log, start one. A spreadsheet's fine. Date, what happened, what you did, what it cost. That spreadsheet, 2 years from now, will be worth more than any certificate on your wall.
Thursday, reallocate your budget. MFA on every account. Phishing resistant if you can manage it. Hardware key, pass key, not SMS.
Covered why SMS is broken in the authentication crisis episode. The position has not improved.
Then a password manager for every staff member. Paid license, not the free tier nobody uses. Not a sticky note, not a spreadsheet called Passwords Final V3. 1 hour of phishing training run by someone who isn't trying to sell you something afterwards. And review your top 3 suppliers. Ask what their cyber controls look like.
Supply chain.
Supply chain. The route we discussed back in episode 5 is still the way most businesses your size get into trouble.
Want to make this concrete? The pattern we see most often. Your accountant gets compromised. Your bookkeeper, your CRM vendor. Attackers now reading their email, knows the format of your invoices, knows when your VAT return's due, sends you a perfectly plausible payment redirect on the right day, from the right person, in the right tone.
And the money's gone.
Money's gone before anyone notices. Not because someone breached your firewall, because someone breached your accountant's mailbox 6 weeks ago.
Not a Hollywood threat actor. Your supplier's inbox.
Your supplier's inbox, which is why the supplier review isn't a tick box. It's the single best hour you'll spend this year.
And it's an hour, not a project.
Not a project, email, phone call, 10 minutes per supplier, done. And the total cost of the 4 things Karine just listed for a 20-person business is under £2,000 a year. Total, less than 1 mid-tier retainer payment to a vendor selling the 43% headline.
Less than the conference ticket the vendor will use to pitch you again next year.
Stop it.
Friday. Email your insurance broker. Ask what real claims in your sector actually cost. They'll give you loss data their pricing's built on because their profit depends on getting it right. You'll find the claim distribution looks a lot more like Chapter 6 than the headline.
The insurance market's one of the few places in this industry where lying about numbers costs you money, rather than making you money.
Listen to the people whose paycheck depends on the truth, not the people whose paycheck depends on you being frightened.
Quite.
And once you've done those 5 things, you're an informed buyer. You stop being a customer of the fear economy.
Which is what this show's for, in the end.
Informed buyers fix this market. Frightened buyers feed it.
Right, that's the episode. Chapter 6 reference, DSIT methodology link, OSR review, action checklist, all in the show notes. If this changed how you read the headline this spring, share it with the person in your business who signs the cyber renewal. They're the one who needs it most.
And if your MSP sent you a renewal email this month, leading with 43%, forward them this episode. See what they say back.
Lucy,
What? I'm serious.
I know you are. That's what worries me. Right, we'll be back next week, assuming we haven't been sued by every vendor in the country. Assuming the certification industry hasn't had us excommunicated by Wednesday. Assuming MMABA and I still have career when this goes out.
Oh geez, thanks Noel.
You're welcome. Otherwise, see you Monday.
Right. Before we let you go completely, let's have a quick chat about the boring but necessary legal bits. Don't worry, I'll make this as painless as possible. First up, and this is important, everything we've said today represents our own personal opinions and experiences. These views are ours alone and don't represent any organisation we work for, any employers, advertisers, sponsors, or anyone else who might be connected to the show. When we're giving you advice or sharing our thoughts, that's coming from us as individuals, not speaking on behalf of anyone else. Everything we've talked about today is for general guidance. It's meant to point you in the right direction, but it absolutely shouldn't be treated as professional advice tailored specifically to your business. Your situation is unique. What works brilliantly for a Birmingham bakery might be completely useless for a Manchester marketing agency.
We do our very best to keep everything accurate and current, but let's be honest here. The cybersecurity world moves faster than a caffeinated squirrel being chased up a tree by Mauvin's Jack Russell.
Things can change between when we record and when you're listening, so always double check critical technical details with qualified professionals before you go making major changes to your systems. If we've mentioned any websites, products or services, we're giving you information, not necessarily giving them our seal of approval. We can't be responsible for what happens on their end or if things go sideways when you use them. Some things we recommend might involve affiliate partnerships. We'll always flag those when they come up because transparency matters. Now, if you're dealing with serious cybersecurity incidents, actual data breaches, or gnarly legal compliance issues, please talk to proper professionals, rather than just relying on podcast advice. We're here to educate and help you understand the landscape, not to replace your security consultant, solicitor, or IT team. This has been a Small Business Cybersecurity Guy production. Copyright 2025, all rights reserved.
Click subscribe and join the ride. Together we'll shield the digital tide. Your business is strong when your data's secure. The Small Biz Cyber Guy, here to ensure. Thanks for listening, we're signing off. Stay cyber safe no matter the cost. The Small Biz Cyber Guy says goodbye. Until next time, keep your day